Can you or can you not withstand the challenges of the omniscient horse? Put simply, can you deal or no deal with tonight's Dares of Eternity?
This video is going to show you a solo flawless Dares of Eternity on Legend difficulty during the last couple of weeks of Season of the Lost. The reason why we're doing this is because there's not a lot left to do during the last couple of weeks, and obviously it's been a super long season. So I hadn't made a good video on the Dares of Eternity, so I figured this would be a good week to do it, just to get out. This is something I wanted to do before the season ends. This was one of the things. We're using bottom tree Voidwalker, that's the Devour build, Attunement of Hunger, with Vortex Grenade, Healing Rift. Then we're using the exotic rocket launcher, Gjallarhorn of course, Null Composure, Fusion Rifle with Particle Deconstruction, and then a Overload Bow, Biting Winds with Explosive Head. We're using a basic Protective Light build, Protective Light Shield Break Charge, with a couple of rocket launcher mods like Reserves, stuff like that. We're using the exotic boots, Transversive Steps, so when we run, it reloads our weapons. Transversive Steps is really handy for this, because obviously later on we're going to be spamming a lot of Gjallarhorn, and it's really good with that. So we'll activate the start. The rotation this week, because this rotation for Legend difficulty rotates, is taking Cabal and then the Vex boss at the end, right? So for the first phase we'll proc Devour, kill the wizard first, and we'll back up on ourselves and get all of these void shields. This is not something that I'm teaching people to do, obviously, because there's no point in doing this, but if you're doing a video and you're a person that does some stuff like this, obviously there is a point. But I'm just giving you an extra insight in what goes into, when you solo in a 6-man activity, what goes into it. Well, first of all, you need to find out whether how much time you've got. Like, this is timed. You can see there's a timer ticking, so I can't really be hanging about, sitting in the back with a bow. I need to be making sure that I'm clearing the ads in a good manner, in an efficient way. So you'll learn a bit of, speed killing techniques from this, more than anything else. Whereas in GMs, you don't really learn that as much. Obviously, I do a lot of GMs, but you don't learn this sort of play style. But you may start to, because obviously Exotic Primary's got a buff that may be viable in GMs, but we'll see how that goes. But anyways, we're just focusing on the top of the buildings, because we can spawn kill a lot of the ads with our grenade. We'll keep getting our grenade back because of Devour. We're on a Devour chain kill, so we're getting HP back after every kill, and we're getting a lot of grenade energy. We can use Null Composure for the void shields, and we use Gjallarhorn exclusively really to the champions, because it just takes them out quicker, of course. Just need to get a stun here. These are the stasis ones, funnily enough. Another stun here, and that'll be pretty much this encounter done. You'll see when you get to the bar complete, that's the next part obviously starts. This rotation has blights in it, right? So I mean, each week it's going to be completely different. As I say, I'm not recommending people do this, but this particular week is a really good time to do it because it's got a good rotation. We'll do a healing rift in middle, and then we need to kill the taken boss. My goal here is to spawn kill this boss pretty much as quickly as I can. So I use my Nova and plenty of the Null Composure. I want to save some Gjallarhorn for a lot of the silence, because these things that you won't pick up on. Obviously people go in this playlist all the time and do, the LFG Legends, or they maybe go on the normal playlist, or they've got a fire team of 6. There's stuff on there, like when you do it in a team, there's stuff that you won't realise. But on a solo, we need to clear out all these ads. Okay, if I start throwing the balls, the orbs, at the blight, while sounds are alive, they will kill me, without a doubt. So, they don't despawn as well. That's something else that I need to figure out, because some things despawn in the game, right? You get a relic on the floor, wherever it might be, it despawns after so long, like a sword or whatever it might be. These orbs, they don't despawn, which is a good thing, so I can spawn kill that Vex boss. Then my next order is to get the sounds, and then I can throw all the orbs at the end. Then on the second phase, it's just rinse and repeat, but it's on the other side of the map. So again, we can go for a Devour chain. I'm going to focus all the Scions for this, Because if you see the timer, I've got plenty of time, right? The timer will reset after this encounter. I'll get a fresh 5 minutes. So I knew that going into it, right? If any time I'm doing something like this, a solo on a 6-man, you do your research on that activity to find out all the little details, because you need to know the little details, right? Because obviously, if your timer didn't reset, this would be a little bit harder. See, you got 2 minutes per encounter, and that kept going and on and on. By the time you get to the final boss, or the tank boss in this case, you wouldn't have as much time. But it doesn't work so much like that, so it means I've got plenty of time right now to finish off this last boss and get the blights and then move on. I'm using Nova here. That'll deal with the Vex boss, and then we can just, well, Vex Taken boss, whatever you want to call him. Then we'll just throw the blights. I used to do stuff like this when Menagerie was out. Vex Offensive, we're doing it with that. Doing it with a lot of different 6-mans. I didn't bother with the Astral Alignment, just because I never really enjoyed that one anyways. The only one I really enjoyed was the boss that copies himself. But not really enjoying that 6-man. Even when I'm in a 6-man team, I don't really enjoy it. So what I'm doing here is obviously going for the jump. You need to go for the jump to activate Starhorse's Favour, which grants you infinite heavy, or a constant supply of heavy. The benefit to doing it solo, I mean, obviously it's going to be a lot harder solo than a team, but there's no one in front of me to start the next encounter, so I did miss my jump. If you go backwards in it, 9 times out of 10 it'll work like that. Sometimes, on the rare occasion, it doesn't. But if you go backwards like that, or you can go forwards and wait for the timing on it. If you know the timing on it, you can do it that way. Either or, but it didn't really matter for this. So we've got our infinite heavy. Gives you special ammo as well, so we're full on everything. Don't need a flag, so I'll just start it up. This rotation's Cabal. So 3 phases. The first phase is clear all adds. Just clear all adds, all champions. Which there's a lot, of course, as we know. Phase 2 is kill the bombardiers. Right? You got to get a relic, throw the relic at them to remove their shield, and then kill them. And then the final phase is kill the tank, the boss, at the end. There's multiple ways, multiple places I could have stood, because this map is actually really good. The way they've designed it, I actually quite like it. But for start out, I like to stand up top. I have got Devour chain going, right, so I could play down below. But what I'm wanting to do here is group up all the barriers. Obviously, I don't have an anti-barrier weapon on, but obviously with Gjallarhorn, you can double rocket a champ and kill them, as long as the timing's right. There's a sniper pushing me to my right, just gullied him. So that's one thing I've got to be careful of. I was weak there, it's okay. Now we're going to come down below and get a lot of the Cabal. These cleavers, they seem to hide a lot from what I noticed when I was soloing it. They seem to hide, and what'll happen is you clear all the adds and then you've still got like 6 cleavers to take. So rather than that, I wanted to go down and confront a lot of the cleavers, take those, because they are quite tanky. And then we'll finish off with the barriers. I know there's a couple of barriers left too, I believe. Our time's 3:34, so we're on good time as well. That's another thing you need to consider. I can't be, taking too long on this, because as I said, you timed. Luckily that champ got staggered by Galley's initial impact. See, if you don't get a direct hit on these champs, they won't stagger back like that. It gives you that chance just to give you another time to do the rocket. Sometimes they will barrier automatically, it just depends. But generally if you hit them directly like that, they won't. Finish off the rest of the cleavers. I'm okay to use Null Composure because there's plenty special on the floor. Got an extra add to spawn in, just because I didn't reach the checkpoint. We get the checkpoint, you should then, I'll get a fresh 4 minutes. So on this encounter it gives you 4 minutes. I'll proc a Devour. My Devour was way too soon here. What I'm trying to do is clear out a set wave of phalanxes and sounds which get in your way when you're trying to kill these bombardiers. So that's all I'm trying to do with that. This is where you'll see transversive steps come in. So you'll see me, I'll spam my galleys, run around for a few seconds, and then I'm reloaded. Transversive steps is actually one of the best neutral exotics in the game for the Warlock, period. No matter what you're doing, it's never a bad thing to have these boots on, right? Obviously in a raid you might want to run Lunar boots or whatever, or Phoenix Protocol, but if you've already got a Warlock doing that in your team, then it's not a bad idea for yourself to have Transversive on. If your job is on Ag Clear or wherever it might be. So we need to be careful on our planning with the route that we take. So I'm taking the route on the outer skirts, and what it is, there's always 3 Cabal Ultras up at a time, but after so long there isn't. But what that means is you can pick the side you want to kill, right? So I always want to be on the left side for now, which is kind of good. On the right side, sorry. So as long as I control this right side with ads and things, because the sounds, they'll spawn up there. It's an infinite spawn. It's not a case of you clear them and all the ads are killed. It's not like a knife, or it doesn't work like that. It's an infinite spawn, because this isn't designed for solo, it's designed for a team, of course. So I really need to manage ads a little bit, which is not a tall order. I have got infinite galley, so I should be doing that. It's just, if I'm approaching with a relic and there's a bunch of phalanxes, I need to be aware of my HP. I proc a Devour here each time as well. Each time that we go with the relic, because that's the dangerous part, because you can have fresh dogs coming in at that side door. There's a chance I could rocket myself. There's a high chance of that, especially with these dogs. So I have to be careful. Maybe rocket when I'm in mid-air. That's the best choice. Right now we've got a fresh spawn of phalanxes, so I'm quite in a dangerous place. But we've got Devour going. We'll kill the major. The relic itself won't kill the major, so I need to put additional damage in to get that. We're 1 minute 20, so we're sort of slow on this run, if I'm being honest, because we missed a relic. We threw one of the relics and we missed. So I'm going to say if I missed 2, I would have wiped. Because when the timer reaches 0, you wipe. And obviously I wouldn't have got the flaws. Not to say that there's anything in the game that says if you do a solo flaws for this, it's not. It's just obviously that's what, when anything comes out like that, people always tie it to flawless. Well, I didn't die in it. So it's just something that people go for. We missed another relic actually, so I did miss 2. So this was quite unfortunate. We've got 35 seconds left. So this wasn't the best in terms of me with the relic. We'll go for a speculative shot. Luckily enough he walks in there. That's why I don't like doing it from a range, you see, like this, because there's a higher chance of missing. But we actually hit that shot. We didn't miss the we didn't actually miss that throw that I had done earlier. So we finished with 7 seconds. So he must have walked into it as I ran away, but I thought I'd missed the shot, but he just walked into it, luckily. We will then get an automatic fresh timer of 2 minutes. I'll start with a Nova, and then it's DPS on the tank. So the idea with this is just to keep running around. We'll proc a Devour, because there'll be a lot of ads that surround that tank. So we'll keep getting our health back when we use Galley. Some of the Wolfpack rounds will kill some of the ads. We've got 1 minute 30, so we've got plenty of time. He's half HP already. The main thing is not to have Galley hit the pillars, because I'll lose a lot of damage if I do that. It's important that I keep on the move, because the tank can actually one-shot us at any point. If it's a direct hit, the tank will one-shot us, and then obviously that would ruin the whole thing. So I don't want that to happen. Snipers start to push when the tank is weak. That was something I found interesting. Obviously we can take out any sound that does. We'll reproc Devour. This tank moves a lot more than what I would have not liked, to be honest. More than what I like. The tank's taking more damage, taking down because of all these legs. All the legs of the tank are pretty much exploding. So at that point, my rocket's actually doing less damage. Then we finish the tank. 16, well, nearly 10 seconds left. So it wasn't bad. As long as we get the clear for that, then that's fine. And then we're on with the final boss. So the final boss itself isn't timed, but DPS is timed. Also, the ads are sort of, they have their cadence, and I sort of need to know what spawned when. This obviously isn't important when you're doing this in a team run. You don't really, if you ask somebody if they knew exactly every spawn, but they've never, done it in a low man or a solo, they probably won't know. But somebody who have low manned it, maybe they've 2-manned it for the triumph. If you ask that person, they'll know exactly what's spawning in. There's harpies at this point. On the wall phase, there's the fanatics. On this phase, there's hydras and etc. So it's just giving you an insight to what goes into. You need to know that extra bit of information when you're trying to solo or low man something. The same is true for raids and whatever you can think of. If you want to be better at the game, you need to know more information about it, even if it might sound trivial to you, because that's where you find it's not just the best players who play really good, but it's those players who know all the bits and pieces of information. So it isn't just about skill, it's about memory and stuff like that. So obviously we start with the 2 walls. It's 2 walls on the start phase. The boss is shielded. The boss's shield is linked to 2 overload champions or 2 key targets. Once those are passed, we get harpies and a hydra on each side of the map. This map's actually well designed as well. I don't mind this boss. I quite like all the bosses. The Cabal one I quite like. Crota's, I think Crota's okay. It's fine. It's fine how it's designed. It's not bad. It's kind of still fresh in our minds because we were using Crota on the moon, so it's kind of, Crota's been overused a little bit in my opinion when he keeps getting brought back. I wouldn't mind if they used like Axis from Wrath of the Machine, but they might bring back Wrath of the Machine, we don't know. But if they don't, then use that boss in something, I don't know, or a boss similar, rather than we just keep getting Crota all the time. It's kind of like, yeah, we've sort of had it. So right now we're just clearing all ads. The main goal of this is, because DPS is timed, if you do no damage, you've wasted the phase. I've wasted my time. So I don't want that to happen. I want all ads taken care of so that when I get to DPS, I can get in, a good amount of damage in that phase, at least the 3rd, or something like that. For damage, we're just basically just on a Devour chain kill at the minute. Obviously there's 2 overloads. I'm just waiting for this harpy. Now we'll take out one of the overloads. It's my galley, that's okay. And then what I'm going to do now is position myself for damage. So I want to stand in a good place where the boss doesn't teleport as much. Because as you'll know with doing this, the boss does teleport quite a lot. Which can be quite annoying when you try and rocket him a lot. But over here he doesn't seem to teleport as bad. So we'll get a stun here on this overload. And then we can go for Gjallarhorn damage. I didn't quite have my Nova Bomb, which is something that I was lacking for on damage on this phase. That's okay. Another thing that I could have done, which I ended up doing later, is kill the Overlord with my Null Composure instead of Galley. That way I have fresh 8 rockets to rocket him. I know you get a constant feed of ammo, but if you keep spamming Galley, eventually you start to run out of it and get to 0, and then it'll go to 1, then 0, then 1, and then you lose a bit of damage. So starting with 8 would have been more damage for me overall. Now on this phase it'll be 4 walls. The boss is still damageable, so I can do that, but the price that you pay is that ads start to spawn. The fanatics can actually kill us, and if we get detained at the wrong moment, then that can be bad. We did do a Nova Bomb here, which I hit. Luckily enough, that was actually a decent Nova. Got caught there, detained again, that's fine though. And now the boss is immune. So the damage wasn't as much as I would have liked, but it is going to be a slow fight because obviously this boss is quite tanky if you're doing it solo. So we don't have Devour because I used it before, so we'll activate it via melee, which you can do that. And then our goal is just take out all the Hydras. So they just rinse and repeat from now. I'll get like 4 or 5 Hydras. There'll be some fanatics from the previous phase which spawn up from the wall section, right? So some of them will be left over, and then there's some snipers that spawn in, which they are quite dangerous. So we'll take those. But then it's not too much of a problem, of course, because we've got Starhorse's Favour, so you can apply these strategies to a 2-man if you still need to do the Triumph of Vidmaster, because there might be still people needing to do it. And if you're 2-manning it with somebody, you maybe don't want a 4-man but just 2-man, then you can still have somebody on Devour Warlock doing what I'm doing, and then you could have another class on maybe Titan or Hunter, whatever it might be. Maybe even Bubble for damage. Have your friend on Bubble. That would be a good setup, a good synergy. Or even go Well of Radiance if you wanted, because you maybe wouldn't need the Devour if there's 2 of you. The key thing I need to not do here though is take the Overload when there's like too soon, because then DPS will start and I'll lose on time. That's a big thing that I don't want to do. I'm basically waiting on my Nova Bomb. I'm very close. We'll use should have used Null Composure. I end up doing it on the next phase though. It's fine though. So we take out the Overload. We'll do a healing because the boss is hitting us quite hard. Actually, Void burns on this, so I think it states all Void damage is buffed. So I had Void damage resistance on just for that. On the second phase, the boss seems to teleport in different locations, so we have to adjust to that. So he's over the other side of the map. We'll just try and get as much Galley in as we can, and then we back up. When it's the wall phase, it's best just to back up for me, because these fanatics, if I'm in middle, they will kill me, and if I get detained in middle, then the boss will almost certainly kill me. So I'm just trying to do as much damage as possible. The boss is just above half HP. This is what I was saying about, yeah, it is infinite heavy, but it's a drip feed of that. Once you spam all your 8 rockets, you'll be 0 then 1, 0 then 1, like that. One loadout that I didn't try that will probably work would be Sleeper Simulant, because it would be better for damage. It would be slower for ad clearing things for the previous encounters when you're defeating the Cabal and things, but it will probably work with infinite Sleeper, and there's more ammo in it, so it would go a bit further that way. And it would certainly be better for the boss, but obviously not as good on ads, like you see here. We're going to try and delay these overloads up as much as possible, because I don't want to accidentally kill them, because I could do that if I overload them. That's one thing I don't want to do, because as I said, the phase will be wasted, because then you have to contend with Hydras while the walls and things are coming, which won't be ideal. I'll galley these Hydras no matter where the shield is. Obviously I'm going to get some immune, especially on the impact damage, but at the very least Wolfpack rounds will do damage to the Hydras. So I just, if I can hit a good shot on the Hydra I will do, but if the Hydra's shield isn't in the exact place that I want, then I'm not too fussed. So we got one Overload. I've stunned one prematurely to check out the area because I know there's still some adds up, and for a brief moment on Gully so I get more ammo restored for when we get the damage. The boss is hanging out in a different area now as well, I've noticed. He sort of rotates with what phase you're on. That's all adds taken out, so we'll get ready for the Overload. We'll run for a quick reload. And it's damage on the boss again. There was some heavy in middle which I did pick up because that's instant heavy, so that's going to help out towards the overall damage. We'll do a Nova as well, which wasn't bad. This Nova isn't a bad one. Obviously top 3 Nova is a bit better, but it'd be interesting if they give it Lance. If you don't know what Lance is, it was a D1 Voidwalker perk, which basically made your Nova go straight, like a straight line, and further. It'd be interesting if they bring Lance, because that would work really well with bottom tree. Top tree's got its own tracking anyways. It's meant to be a slow type of Nova, so I don't know how they would work with, like, if you could give Lance to top tree. That wouldn't make much sense. It would make sense on bottom tree. It would be interesting to see if they do bring back Lance. This was a bad moment. Nearly got it ourselves and they detained. My damage wasn't. I was hoping it was a little bit more than that, just to seal the deal on the final phase. With his HP, I mean, I should have been able to get him down in the next phase, but I don't think I do. Again, we'll focus on the adds. Just Galley Rocket. There seems to be a lot of space that you can run around on this map as well for safety. It's not like you're hemmed into an area or something. The boss now hangs around on this side of the map, on the final phase. So he goes middle, left and right. That's what it seems to do. Which again, you wouldn't need to know that. In a team, you're literally just sitting in the middle with a well. So you wouldn't need to know all this information. It's just my point, is that when you start to low man something, or solo it, you need to know the extra details. Okay? Because if you just one cycle on bosses, you won't really learn that encounter, like everything about it. Not to say that you do. Obviously this activity is not meant to be more of a fun one. It's not meant to be like full on endgame, like a GM or something. So we'll just clear out the rest of the ads. There's a sniper up, I believe. And we just need to clear out the final overload. What I was thinking though is where to do damage, because obviously he hangs around on the right side, so I was thinking if I come up here it'd be a good place to do damage. So we'll use Null Composure instead, which is what I should have been doing all along. Don't know why I didn't. But you live and learn. We'll do our Nova, our rockets, just try and get as much damage in. I don't get him on this final phase, which was unfortunate, but I did miss a couple of rockets or two, so this is actually a good place to stand for this. No ads will spawn in. It's only when the wall spawn in that you get that. He actually spawns middle, surprised me. And then these pickups have came in as well, which I didn't really need to pick up these, but I was just sort of, it was on the way. As I said, if I had been a little bit more efficient, I would have got him down on his phase, but I prioritised my health a little bit better. A little bit more than damage. We get the last 2 rockets in, he's going to be literally one shot at that. And then it's just another phase. It's not a bad activity to solo, definitely not. It just depends on the encounter and what you get. Some encounters are quite difficult because the time's harsh on them. But again, it's not something that is designed to be soloed. Okay, when they looked at this, they didn't say, right, we'll design it for solo first. Like dungeons, they are designed for solo. Well, 1 to 3, you know. So the time and everything, a lot of people won't be able to do it because of the time constraints, you know. But again, it's something that you don't have to do. Obviously the 2-man you do if you want, well, 2 to 4, but that's why they give you the option of you can either have 2 to 4. I'll clear off the final overload. We'll do an over here. There are still adds alive, but I just wanted to finish off the fight because the boss is literally one shot. But we do get soul floss on it, so it wasn't a bad run by any means. But that was the run. In the end, we do get, would you believe it, lightning rounds, but I'll leave it at that. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.